Good morning, students. How are you all? I'm sure you all are doing well and having great fun at home, right? Well, students, in your last class, you had your chapter test and most of you all have done quite well, and I congratulate all of you for your wonderful performance. Well, students, in our last class, we did the topic War with the Marathas. We came to know how the British was able to completely crush the Maratha power in the Third Anglo-Maratha War, which was held in between 1817 to 1819. After the Third Anglo-Maratha War, the British annexed the Maratha kingdom and the Maratha Peshwa was sent to Bithur, which is near Kanpur, and he was just given some kind of pension. So this is how the British was able to take over the Maratha land as well. So students, today we shall be discussing about the next two important topics, that is the claim to paramountcy and one of the very important policies adopted by the British, that is the doctrine of lapse. So students, without much delay, let us start with our today's class. So students, our today's topics of discussion are claim to paramountcy and the doctrine of lapse. The learning objectives of our today's class are: number 1, understanding the company's claim to paramountcy, and number 2, develop knowledge about the final wave of annexation by the British and its consequence. So students, from today's class we shall be able to understand how the British started claiming paramountcy. So when we will discuss, you will come to know the meaning of paramountcy. Also students, we shall be able to develop knowledge about the final wave of annexation, that is about the final move of the East India Company towards annexing the Indian territories and also its consequence. So students, without further ado, let us start with our today's class. Well students, it is known to all of us that after annexing the Maratha kingdom, the British took complete control over the southern territories of the Vindhyas. So students, after annexing most of the Indian territories, the British started developing a kind of pride in themselves. They started boasting themselves and they started considering themselves to be the most powerful authority. They started claiming their supremacy over all the Indian states and over all the Indian rulers. They considered themselves to be the most powerful, to be the supreme power, right? They thought that no one is above them. Everyone should follow the rules and regulations made by them. No one should say anything against the British. So they started considering themselves to be above all. They started considering themselves to be the most powerful. So this is the meaning of the claim to paramountcy. Paramountcy means supremacy, considering oneself to be the supreme power. So after annexing the Maratha kingdom, the British started claiming themselves to be the most superior authority and they started claiming this supremacy over the Indian states. So students, the British gradually turned aggressive in its territorial expansion policies. We all know that initially the British was quite strategic. Whatever they did it strategically. They never annexed any Indian territory directly. They did everything by using their brain. But after annexing most of the Indian territories, they turned aggressive. Now they started doing everything directly. They started annexing or taking over the Indian territories. They even started threatening the Indian rulers. They said that if the Indian rulers do not follow the rules and the orders of the company, then their territories would be taken over by the British. And all this was done under the governance of Warren Hastings. So students, at that time Warren Hastings was the Governor General of British India. He served as the Governor General for a period of 10 years, that is from 1813 to 1823. So students, through this policy, the company started claiming its supremacy, and it also started threatening the various Indian rulers to take over their kingdoms. But students, this aggressive policy of the company faced severe criticisms. For example, once it happened that Rani Channamma of Kittur is presently in Karnataka. So Rani Channamma, she could not tolerate this aggressive policy of the British, so she started an anti-British movement against the British, right? But unfortunately, she was arrested by the British and she was sent in prison in the year 1824. After 5 years, she died in the prison itself, that is in the year 1829. So what happened after she was sent in the prison? The movement which was continued by Rani Channamma was continued by one of the Chowkidars of Kittur, that is Rayana. But students, the movement which was continued by Rayana did not last long, because Rayana too was arrested by the British and he was hanged in the year 1830. So that's how most of the Indian rulers, or that's how most of the Indian kings rebelled or revolted against these aggressive policies of the British. Students, meanwhile in the 1830s, the company started facing threats from its various rival countries. Like Russia was one of the rival countries of the East India Company. The company was worried that Russia might come into India and started trading in India, because the company never wanted to face any kind of competition. They wanted to have the sole autonomy in trading in India. They wanted to have the sole power of trading in India. They did not want to face any kind of competition. So the company was the company was worried about the fact that Russia might come and start trading in India, in the northwestern part of India. So the company, out of fear, it wanted to secure its trade in the northwestern part of India. Also students, owing to the aggressive policies which were adopted by the company, it had to fight various battles with various kingdoms. For example, one battle was fought with the king of Afghanistan. It was from the year 1838 to 1842. That means this battle lasted for 4 years. Another one was fought with Sindh in the year 1843, and another one with Punjab. But students, this battle with Punjab made the company face a very tough time, because at that time Punjab was ruled by one of the very powerful and courageous ruler, Maharaja Ranjit Singh. So the company found it very difficult to annex Punjab, because it was ruled by Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who gave a tough competition to the company. But students, unfortunately, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, he died in the year 1839, and after his death, it became quite easy for the company to take over Punjab, because now Punjab had become comparatively weaker than before. So after the death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, 2 battles with Punjab were fought, and unfortunately in the year 1849 the company was able to annex Punjab as well. That means in 1849 Punjab came under the territorial purview of the East India Company. So students, there comes the ultimate move, or you can say the master stroke of the East India Company. So the company introduced a policy or a principle which is known as the doctrine of lapse. So students, doctrine means some kind of a policy or a principle or a scheme which was introduced by the British. So students, this doctrine was introduced under the governance of Lord Dalhousie. So this doctrine was introduced at the time when the Governor General of British India was Lord Dalhousie. So students, according to this doctrine, the company asserted that if any Indian ruler dies without having a male successor to rule the throne, that means if a kingdom, suppose the king of a particular kingdom dies, and if he does not have a son or a male successor to rule the throne, then that kingdom will come to an end and it will be taken over by the East India Company. So this is one strategic move which was adopted by the company to annex the remaining territories of India, right? So the company adopted this strategic move in order to annex or in order to take over the remaining portions of India. So the company introduced this doctrine. According to this doctrine, the company said that if any Indian ruler dies and at the time of his death, if he does not have any son or if he does not have any male successor to rule the throne, then that throne will come under the territory of the East India Company. That means that throne will no longer remain under the Indian ruler, rather it will come under the East India Company. So this is how the company thought to annex the remaining portions of the Indian territory. So students, through this doctrine, the company started annexing various kingdoms. For example, Satara was annexed in the year 1848, Sambalpur in the year 1850, Udaipur in 1852, Nagpur in 1853 and Jhansi in 1854. So we all know about the Queen of Jhansi, Rani Lakshmi Bai, right? In fact, she died while battling with the East India Company, and it was related to this doctrine. Okay, students, so the company not only annexed these kingdoms, also the company annexed Awadh through this policy of doctrine of lapse. So Awadh was annexed by the company in 1856, but this time the company acted very cleverly. The company cited another reason for annexing Awadh. The company stated that Awadh was annexed in order to protect it from the misgovernance of the present ruler. So at that time Nawab was ruled by a certain king. So the company gave this reason that that Awadh was annexed because it was misruled by the present ruler who was ruling Awadh at that time. So in order to protect Awadh, the company stated that it was necessary for them to take over Awadh. But students, the people of Awadh got very angry when they came to know that their king was humiliated by the East India Company. So in order to take revenge, the people of Awadh, they decided to take part in the Great Revolt of 1857. So this is all about the doctrine of lapse, students. Well, today we have started our class by doing a revision of our previous class, that is the war with the Marathas. Then we came to analyze the learning objectives. After that, we discussed two very important topics: the company's claim to paramountcy and the doctrine of lapse. Claim to paramountcy means how the company started claiming its supremacy over all the Indian states. The company started asserting itself to be the most powerful authority and started dominating the Indian kingdoms and the Indian rulers. So students, one of the final master stroke which was played by the company was the introduction of the doctrine of lapse. Through this doctrine, the company tried to annex the remaining territories of India. So according to this doctrine, any kingdom would come under the purview of the East India Company if the ruler of that kingdom dies and if he does not have a son or a male successor or a male heir to take over the throne. And in this way, the company adopted this strategic move to take over the remaining territories of India. So this doctrine of lapse led to the annexation of various territories by the company. For example, Satara, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Nagpur, Jhansi. In fact, Awadh too was annexed by the company through this doctrine. But the company stated one additional reason for annexing Awadh. It stated that since Awadh was misruled by the ruler, the then ruler who was ruling Awadh at that time, so it was important for the company to take over its governance. But students, the people of Awadh got very angry with the company because they wanted their ruler to rule Awadh. So in order to take revenge, the people of Awadh, they decided to take part in the revolt of 1857. Well students, I hope you all are clear with the concepts that we have discussed today. In case you have any doubt, please contact me. I will surely help you. So students, that's all for today's class. Hope to see you all in your next class. Thank you. Take care and stay safe.